You ever have a moment where the world just tilts? Where you're sitting there, minding your business, and then out of nowhere you find out your whole life's been running on someone else's script? Yeah, that happened to me. 8 months pregnant, heart pounding, sitting in a fancy Manhattan tea room, staring down at my husband's cryptic texts, feeling that cold certainty deep in my gut. And let me tell you, nobody can prepare you for the kind of betrayal that doesn't just break your heart, but shatters the entire life you thought you built. You know what I mean? Lucas Carlyle, my husband, was the kind of guy who could charm a room just by walking into it, Mr. Big gesture, Mr. Fairy tale romance. The man who swept me from Cleveland and dropped me into a world of penthouses and city lights, where even our arguments happened over views of the skyline. I loved him with the sort of trust that makes you ignore the late nights, the missed dinners, the business trips that keep getting longer, and honestly, for a while I blamed myself for that trust. I thought that's what love was supposed to be, you know? Blind, maybe a little naive, but pure. But let's be real, suspicion has a way of creeping in, slow but steady, until suddenly you're combing through credit card bills and receipts, pretending you're just curious when really you're looking for proof your life hasn't turned into a lie. That's how I found the hotel receipts from Maui. Not San Francisco, not the business trip he said he was on. Maui. Spa treatments for two, oceanfront cabana, dinners for two. His handwriting scribbled right over the second guest's name. My hand shook so badly, I almost tore the paper in two. I wanted to scream, to confront him right then, but there's a strange kind of dignity that takes over when you know your child is listening from inside you. I decided to wait, to watch, to gather proof, as if I was prepping for a trial that might save what was left of my sanity. At a glitzy cocktail gala, I watched Lucas work the room like nothing was wrong, every smile, every handshake calculated, while the wives on the sidelines exchanged looks that made my skin crawl. No one said the word, but I could see it in their eyes. They all knew. Clarissa Walters was the first to offer a hint, all sympathy and coded warnings. She wasn't just some gossip, though she was an old friend, and for a second, I almost confessed everything. But pride is a hell of a drug. That night, back home, I tore through Lucas's office, hunting for a thread to pull. That's when I found the flight to Florida. No business meeting, no calendar entry, just a lie dressed up in a suit and tie. So I did the unthinkable. I booked my own flight, told Lucas I was off to see my cousin, and waited for his reaction. Nothing. He barely looked up. I followed him from the airport, wearing a hat pulled down low, my belly leading the way, my heart just about ready to crawl out of my chest. Lucas pulled into one of those private beach resorts, the kind where the air itself smells expensive, and disappeared into a villa. I waited, then slipped in behind him, nerves on fire, praying nobody would notice a pregnant woman trying to look invisible. And there she was, chestnut hair, expensive dress, laughter like she belonged in a movie. Sophia Arrington, the mistress. I watched through the window as they kissed, talked, planned a future that had nothing to do with me or our baby. Yeah, I took pictures, shot video. Sometimes self-respect looks like evidence gold, hard, undeniable. I called Clarissa and spilled everything, desperate for some kind of anchor in the storm. Clarissa listened, told me Sophia was bad news, a gold digger from a once-rich family trying to claw her way back to relevance. That just made the whole thing sting more. The next day, I got a text. Leave Florida now, or you'll regret it. I like to say I wasn't scared, but I was scared for me, for my baby, for what I was becoming. But I'd come too far to turn back. I got the confirmation I needed. The staff told me Lucas and Sophia had extended their stay for another week. That was it. That was my breaking point. I flew home, every mile another crack in the dam, holding back my grief and rage. Back in Manhattan, surrounded by a city that suddenly felt cold and foreign, I called a divorce lawyer. I put all my evidence in a folder, sent copies to Clarissa, to my attorney, to my own private cloud. I wasn't just fighting for myself anymore. And then came the investor retreat, Lake Placid, upstate New York, the event Lucas needed to keep his empire alive. Clarissa tipped me off about the date. I showed up in a green dress that made no effort to hide my bump, just the opposite. I wanted everyone to see me, to see the truth. I walked into that gala, and found Lucas mid-pitch, all slick confidence until he saw me. He tried to play it cool, but I could smell his fear. I pulled him aside, laid out the receipts, the pictures, the texts. How long, Lucas? How long have you been living two lives? His eyes darted, looking for an exit that wasn't there. And then, right on cue, Sophia appeared in a dress that probably cost more than my rent. I called her out. Right there, told her I hoped Lucas had mentioned I was pregnant. The room went silent. You could feel everyone leaning in, smelling the blood in the water. Lucas tried to hush me, but I pulled out my phone and played the video him and Sophia, cozy as can be. People gasped. Someone started whispering. The investors closed in. Lucas blurted out, excuse she needed Sophia's family money to save his company. He never meant to hurt me. I could almost laugh, except I was so angry I could barely see straight. Then the twist, one of the investors, Jonathan Price, steps up and reads Lucas the riot act. We don't invest in men who lie at home. They certainly can't be trusted with our money. Just like that, Lucas's whole empire collapsed in a matter of minutes. Sophia hissed something at him, but the game was up. Investors pulled out, people started to scatter, and for a moment I felt free. Just pure, raw relief. I left before I could see Lucas hit bottom, just wandered outside and cried by the lake. Clarissa found me, wrapped me in a shawl, told me I was stronger than I thought. And you know what? She was right. 2 weeks later, my son came early. Off course he did, because timing has never been on my side. Labor was rough, but the second I heard that first cry, everything else fell away. Lucas showed up at the hospital, all shadows and apologies, but I wouldn't let him in. Not really. I let him hold his son, but I told him straight. Our child deserves the truth, not another lie. I'd arranged custody, but I was moving on. Word got around. Sophia's family dropped her. Lucas lost everything, Pentas's cars, the works. He tried to get me to help, but I'd learned my lesson. I moved into a little place in Brooklyn, took up painting again, started doing design work for friends of Clarissa's. Slowly, day by day, I built a life that belonged to me. One day, Jonathan Price called to offer me a shot at a design project upstate. He said he admired how I handled the truth. How's that for karma, right? I took the job. More work followed. I was paying my own way, finally. Lucas and I had to talk again, work out custody, finances, the legal stuff. He apologized. I told him I didn't hate him, but I couldn't trust him either. Our son came first. That was that. Lucas tried to do better. Time will tell, but it's not my problem to fix anymore. Sophia sent me a letter begging forgiveness. I never wrote back. Maybe I should feel sorry for her, but honestly, the best revenge is living well. My business grew. My son Oliver grew. I found joy again, bit by bit. Even met someone, Mateo, a designer, gentle and kind, patient with my trust issues. For once, I felt like maybe, just maybe, a happy ending was possible, or at least a new beginning. Lucas rebuilt his life too. Nothing flashy, just quietly trying to make it right with Oliver. Sophia drifted out of the picture, chasing something else in Europe. And me? I sat on my little balcony one sunny afternoon, watching Oliver nap, feeling finally at peace. So here's what I learned. Sometimes the truth sets you free, but first it burns everything to the ground. Hard karma comes for us all, sooner or later. What matters is what you do when the smoke clears. Me? I chose to build something honest. You ever have to claw your way out of a mess like mine? Tell me, where do you draw the line between forgiveness and self-respect? Let's talk about it.